Hey everybody, Alexa Zepp here with the Daily Racing Form, and happy holidays. I hope you all are having a grand time. Safe travels if you're traveling. I am sporting a lovely, ugly Christmas sweater in the holiday spirit, and if you saw, there were flamingos on it, so I feel like I'm really channeling Hialeah Park this week. But we're not doing Hialeah, of course, but we are doing Gulfstream today for our pick three. They have a bunch of stakes races on Saturday, multiple graded stakes races, and this pick three is an all stakes pick three starting in race 8. So race 8 is the Janice Stakes, going 5 furlongs on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. I'm using 4 in here. This was a bit of a tough race. We're going to start with Maceto, the number 1, at 12-1 odds, who's coming off a strong win in an allowance race at Churchill last month. He loves this distance. 4 out of his 5 wins have been going 5 furlongs. So this will be the first time at Gulfstream and with Castellano, who does return quite a high ROI when he teams up with trainer Mark Casse. So that's a nice long shot play in here. We'll also use the number 2, XY Speed, at 8-1 morning line odds. His last 4 races at Gulfstream have all been this distance on the grass, and he's won them all. So, he comes from off the pace, but he has decent early speed as well. Time form, interestingly enough, actually gives him better early pace figures than late pace figures. His speed figures are consistently really good, and he actually ran a pretty good race despite how it looks on paper with the placing in the Grade 2 Woodford. He was 7th, but less than 3 lengths off of the win, and there were some really, really tough horses who've come back to run some big races in there. One of those horses is Arzak, who we will be using on this ticket, the number 10 and morning line favorite. Ran ahead of XY Speed in that Woodford, got 3rd as a morning line favorite. He's also one who comes from off the pace and should have a lot of speed to run at in here. His last effort was at Breeders' Cup in the turf sprint, where he got 6th, but was less than 2 lengths off of the winner at 52-1 odds. So definitely outperformed his odds that day. He's won almost $1 million. He's a super classy horse and will be tough to beat in here. But we're going to try with one more, the number 11, Coppola, at 6-1 odds. Very experienced runner with 26 starts and 8 wins. Actually got 4th place in this last year, only 1.25 lengths off the winner. And his speed figures have been really consistently strong since then. He almost beat Arzak last summer, losing by a head. Now, Arzak has gotten the upper hand on him a handful of times since then, but I do think he's capable of getting there at the end, and has 3 times Arzak's odds, so we're going to include him. Race 9 is the Grade 3 Harland Holiday, going 1 mile and 16th on the dirt for 3-year-olds and up. I'll be using 3 in here. First, a couple logical ones. The number 1, Tuscan Sky, definite key player who will be vying for the lead with the number 2, Tumbarumba. Very experienced stakes runner who's won half of his lifetime starts, including 2 at this distance. Grade 1 and Grade 2 proved a bit too tough for him, but this field seems like a really good fit for him to get back to the winner's circle. I think a lot in this race is going to kind of be determined by whether or not we have a big pace duel between him and Tumbarumba, but definitely a player in here. Of course, we'll use the number 2, Tumbarumba, morning line favorite at 8-5. Very seasoned horse who is used to running against tough competition. Most recent start was in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, where he got 4th out of a field of 13. He's usually on or near the lead, but also has shown us he can come from off of the pace. So really a versatile horse in here. He's gotten first or second in 11 out of his 17 races, and 7 of those were decided by a head or less. So he's pretty much always giving us a thrill when we watch him run. I expect nothing different tomorrow. But that versatility, if there is a big pace duel, I think gives him a little bit of an upper hand against Tuscan Sky. But again, it will likely be close. Now, if it all melts down, if we have total pace meltdown, we're going to use the number 6, Steel Sunshine, at 4-1 odds. His job in here will be to pick up those pieces. He's the best closer, usually comes from pretty far off the pace. The pace scenario sets up for him, with all these speedsters in here. And he's run plenty of figures fast enough to get the job done. He's run in a ton of graded stakes races and only been able to win 1 time, but it was at Gulfstream earlier this year in the Grade 2 Gulfstream Mile. Actually, 6 of his 7 wins in his life have been over the Gulfstream course. So he likes it here and he makes sense to include. Race 10 is the grade 2 Fort Lauderdale, going a mile and an eighth on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. I'll be using 3 in here, starting with the number 1, Cash Equity at 9-2 odds. Was the beaten favorite last out in the grade 3 River City. I like the beaten favorite angle. He's a closer, and the pace in that race was really, really slow, which makes it hard for a horse to close into. So there should be more pace for him to run at tomorrow. Even though he hasn't won this year, he really has not had a bad race. He just has one of those tough running styles, being a deep closer. So Timeform US actually does predict that he breaks the losing streak tomorrow with him on the top in the pace projector. A close second is Major Dude, though, on that pace projector, the number 4, who ran a major race last out in an allowance with one of his best speed figures of his life. If you go back to last year, he was a multiple graded stakes winner, and his speed figures have really just continued to improve. IRAD is riding him tomorrow, which is who rode him to victory in all those graded stakes. So, he should get a nice stocking trip and be a major player at, honestly, 5-1, pretty decent odds. I'll throw one more in here, though, the number 8, Fort Washington at 8-1 for Shug McGahee and Johnny V. He's been running some really solid races this year, hitting the board in multiple stakes races and winning the grade 3 Monmouth in June. He's run at Gulfstream twice and performed well both times. He's the late pace in here with a 126 late Timeform US rating. So hopefully he'll be making waves at the end at some long odds. So that is the pick 3 ticket. It's $36 for $1 or $18 for a 50 center. So good luck on this ticket and all of your bets this weekend. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, wonderful Christmas, wonderful New Year's. I'm actually taking a little time to go travel myself, so I will not be back until after the new year, but have a really great opening weekend at Santa Anita as well.